And I'm Jane.
And we're here today to talk to you about two books by the author Chaz Hayden. For The First Thing About You and
The Diet Soda Club.
And both of these books have main characters that are disabled and are in a wheelchair. And Chaz Hayden is disabled and in a wheelchair, and this is his first book, The First Thing About You. And it's about trying to be a high school student and be in a wheelchair and have a nurse that has to help you at school. And we have students that
Absolutely.
have that situation here at school. And the struggle of trying to have a romantic relationship and how you can develop those feelings.
The struggle to just navigate the space.
Yes, yes.
And I don't mean literally, although I do mean literally, but
Yes.
just to navigate the space. And because what is high school? Where do I fit in? How do I find my passions? And how do I do what I'm going to do?
And how do I find my people? And how do I
people?
make those relationships
How do I
and
find my
friendships
people?
and romantic relationships and develop that sense of self? And we see that really in the second book by Chaz
And
Hayden.
this second book is just a stunning book.
It is. It's so lovely.
It's a lovely, lovely book. But I mean, on the cover it says, "Have you ever made all the wrong choices for all the right reasons?"
And I thought it was really interesting, having read this book and then having read the bio of the author, knowing that he is the one that is disabled and in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
In this book,
Yep.
he writes himself as the able-bodied person and makes his sister
Yes.
the person that's in a wheelchair, and that he has to then be the caregiver for her. And this is very much, both of these are coming-of-age stories.
Very much coming of age, but also, I mean, I think all of the characters were discovering who they were.
Yes.
Who am I? Life is not black and white.
Finding your people, finding your tribe, finding yourself, figuring out who you are.
And I think a really big component of this to me were the parents of all the kids in this, because the parents didn't get it.
Yeah.
The parents of the super brainiac
Yeah.
kid who's
And
doing
there was
everything,
a struggle
and
in
the
this too.
right,
Like
where they
his
didn't
parents
get it.
didn't
Because
get it.
the parents had their own, what do they have? The parents had their own, like, this is how I think it's going to play out. It needs to play out how I am comfortable with.
And I think a lot of people, parents who have disabled children, have that struggle of, I thought my child was going to be this thing.
Yeah.
And as a parent myself of a disabled child, I went into it with the idea that you parent the kid that shows up.
Exactly.
And you just never know who that person is going to be.
Right.
But a lot of us don't, and I don't think...
And the parents struggled.
Yeah.
I mean, even the brainiac kid who's doing all these things in school, her parents she was on such a tight, this is what we need you to do, this is how we need you to do.
There is this built-in thing, too, in another book that, and we'll talk about it later, but the idea of a crip tax, that it's expensive to be disabled. It's expensive to need a wheelchair and to need round-the-clock care and nursing and the medical care. And we see this, like, his dad dies, and his mother just financially can't figure out how to make it happen.
Right.
And that's part of the struggle in this also, is like his mother had been his person because they couldn't afford another person.
And that is a huge chunk of just needing health care in this country.
It is.
That the test that you need, I pay for the test, that's only part of it. That test just takes me to another place that more money.
And the equipment and the services and the supports and the medical care and all of that costs money, takes time, emotional bandwidth, and they really talk about that in both of these books.
And we're just trying, so we're planning to discuss
a whole list of books about folks with disabilities.
Absolutely.
And we are here for Crip the Vote.
Yes. But we're doing it in so many different ways, whether it's narrative nonfiction, whether it's memoir, whether it's just YA fiction, because these are just voices, mirrors, windows,
and sliding glass doors. Yep, you know it. So today, to wrap up, we're talking about The First Thing About You and
The Diet Soda Club
by Chaz Hayden. Give him a read.